go with can. Yes, it's a bit of a cop-out. I don't think they will. I like some of the directions they went.
Yeah,
the Swain in particular.
I was going to add the justification after your answer. Yeah, I think it can be winnable. There are elements to all of these lanes that have winning properties. Hetel should have such a great time on this Rakan. It's just the question of whether Yuhi, someone else who suffers under, sometimes a bit too much pressure from his team to deliver, will be able to add the long-range damage on this center, or whether V3 will be dove upon and will reverse a burning core for the first victory this roster will have seen.
It is time to see if they are up to the task, up to scaling the mountain in front of them. And it is a nice standard spread. Not going to bet anything too crazy on the early game. We do see Rakan reset early to pick up that sweeper. And I like the Lederhosen coming out there for the Gragas up here. That Oktoberfest Gragas. Definitely amongst the best skins, but we are going to take a quick look at the runes here, Temporal. Anything jump out to you?
That's Gragas going for broke with damage. The only thing that doesn't say I wish to combat my opponents at top speed is cookies, and that's because you use them after you've been in combat to restore a little more health and mana. The 1v1 challenge here. Ray Farkey not afraid to look at Washidai in the eyes and say, I am going to try and absolutely monster you in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. The AP Gragas making a bit of a comeback recently. A lot of the time we do see it with the first strike, as it's going to be a bit of a skirmish over mid-bush control in the bot lane here. That is going to be the knockup coming through from Hetel. Loser going to get fairly chunked. Doesn't have that thick skin level 1, but look at Yuhi trying to answer back. Clears out the zombie wards, so lots of scrapping between these bot lanes. It's definitely what you want to see for V3, but hopefully a bit more convincing of a win next time.
Yeah, the level 1 probably not quite in their favor. Loser will just deal a significant amount of damage back with the Tongue Lash. Dice going for this late ward means he will see if Unica goes for those chickens this later stage. Interesting to see both teams taking the 2v2 in the bot lane so sort of critically, like everything must be at its maximum. Both teams know that if that center gets ahead, that is a key outplay on all of the compositions. It reverses everything. Unica will try and pull these to the side. I think that might just be envisioned. The chickens will have been spotted moving on the ward. So Burning Core will know that the bear is headed away from this bot lane, and Yuhi and Loser will do their best to try and make the most of their chance.
And yet they should know. I mean, unless they're going for...
I think
what is Flawless doing?
Unica got away with absolute murder there. It looks like he pulled the chickens just out of range of the ward. It might not have seen them. With that, they check red buff, and they've used so much time at the 2v2.
Yeah, they forced the flash. That's outstanding. I mean, that's a serendipitous bit of luck for Unica there, Temporal. I mean, Flawless should have known with that ward information that all those camps would be gone bot lane. I thought for a moment they might try and force the dive, but once the bot lane of V3 know they're home safe, they're in the clear, they are able to aggressively force the flash of Yuhi there. That could be a big domino falling to set things in motion for our first V3 win here. I hope they can continue to parlay a good early game off that.
Yeah, if Unica gets a nice tempo reset, it is now well worth trying to visit the bot lane, trying to get onto that center as the Lovers duo hold them at their own tier 1 tower. There's a great opportunity there in about 2 minutes. We'll have to see if that comes through as Unica. He's done what Flawless couldn't. He's got into his opponent's jungle.
Yeah, we see another knockup come through. Now it's both sums gone. Yuhi going to go into that ghostly form, but look at Loser doing the zoning, protecting his carry, but that is the center going to be greatly chunked as the Sky Splitter coming out from Unica to fight onto these Krugs has the level advantage. And look at the priority that Washidai has been able to force in the top lane to allow this invade to go on through, but now Hadel may be getting a bit too aggressive. Going to get rooted up. That's full acquired taste stacks, but it's not going to be procced quite yet by the TK. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from V3 here, though.
Yeah, Unica got up into the jungle, outsmited, and at the same time, Washidai got that top tower in. That's why Rayfaki could not get over the mana bar, also betraying him at this stage. Washidai doing great so far. He's not up on CS, but he's up on pressure in this top lane. Great work from V3. Dresscode and Hetel. The 2v2s look more convincing this split. It's still not quite where we want it to be, but they are taking it to Yuhi and Loser so far early on. They have the summoner advantage. They now need to do something with it.
Yeah, this wave state not looking the best for them, though. Here comes the Trundle running straight down. He got the first reset, but look at Unica coming through that bot lane to go check on the Krugs. Another aggressive move forward from Hadel, but here comes Flawless through the river. Abyssal Dive doesn't connect, but the Tongue Lash does. That's going to find the slow. Can they find the kill? No, Dresscode outplays him. Are you kidding me? He's going to fall in return, but that first blood is huge, especially as that wave crashes.
I am so impressed with V3 right now. They have been everyone's punching bag. They take the first blood. Dresscode knows what he needs to do. Jumps onto Yuhi. This center will not be scaling as fast. You're right, that wave is gone. That is advantage V3 in a bottom lane outnumbered fight. We'll see it here. Flawless knows he needs to be here. This is Trundle's strongest point in the game. He's dancing back to the crab, but as Hedel goes in, it's called, comes forwards. Look at Dresscode here. It looks like he's just ready. He's just wandering away. Instead, flashes forwards to pull the feathers back. Just execute the center before he can fall into a disadvantage state. Oh boy. That is the early game we were looking for.
Indeed. It was a very, very nice play from Dresscode there, who's been maligned at times, right? As not quite the AD carry that Marble would have been for this team. Looked at as sort of a weak spot on an historically weak roster, but to see that outplay come through, it gives you a little bit of that hopium. And they're going to transfer some of their priority now into a first Drake take, so things cautiously optimistic for V3, but to temper the copium a little bit, Temporal, we do still see some CS leads in the solo lanes for Burning Core, and there's always that ticking time bomb scaling element.
There is that Corki will output a huge ton of damage from long range. You can see he started already, Dice, wanting to keep Yu-Gi-Oh on his toes in lane. Most importantly, for the next few minutes, oh, that never move lands. That's pretty nice. I'm going to see Yu-Gi-Oh take a deep trade here, but that's for Dice's mana bar, not his health bar. We're looking to the Herald now dodge that's coming up on the map real soon. The dragon taken away in time. With Rayfarki expending his teleport, this is V3. The tempo advantage. Their jungler will arrive there on time to set up the top lane and do anything else he needs to do. She's looking really good for V3.
Yeah, that it is. We don't want to put that caster curse out there, so I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit. It's going to be Yuhi and Loser.
All right, I'll put the Hopium mask down.
Yeah, they are going to keep this wave here for just a moment. Maybe it'll be long enough to prevent a quick movement as we see Unica going for the reset, trying to get back on the map in time to get up there, but if level 6 can be achieved by Hadel here first and can roam up to that Herald fight, it might be the unstable element they need to really give them that objective secured in their back pocket. We see Rayfarki, though, also trying to get a frozen wave on. They're really trying to pester V3 into not resetting before this objective.
With the teleports both burned, there is that pressure on to make sure your opponent can't reach the objective at times that suits them. Rayfarki, I'm pretty impressed with the CS lead, but he's not managed to deal with what he needs to do with Washidai on this damage. Gragas, he has not met the 1v1 conditions, and that Gnar will be useful no matter what.
Yeah, it's going to be Unica actually coming in now. Look at this. Yuhi already forced to use both sums again before the jungler even gets here. That's the easy pickup, as now Loser trying to Abyssal Dive away. Do they have the CC left to lock him up? There goes the God of Lightning crashing down upon that turret, but Hadel maybe going a bit too far, going to land the Q, but the pillar will block the escape, so that's a bit of over-aggression. I get it, V3, you're a bit excited to be winning a lane here, but can't be doing that.
Desperation for what Hetel thought should be a well-deserved takedown. Does instead make this a 1 versus 1 flawless. He's got the level 6. He's holding his ultimate. He's going to try this one again.
Dresscode very low on mana. Gets a little bit back, but it's just not going to do anything at all. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time there, little bird. Going to be chomped up by the Troll King. That's not what you want to see in this early game, as that is going to be something you do want to see. Washidai finding the ultimate on Rayfarki into the wall, but this Gragas very hard to move. Good damage down, but no kill converted.
Not just yet. When Gnar goes mini, we might see that repeated again. But let's have a look at this 3v3 in the bottom side. V3, they pull first, and such great coordination from Yuhi. From Dresscode manages to take down the AD carry. They should probably cut their losses there. This time Kench is not adding a lot, but V3 call the dive, and Hetel just a little bit too far, and we'll see great timing just to lock him off there from escaping with the Trundle pillar, and they'll regank further.
Yeah,
from Flawless.
snapping back
Just,
to live.
yeah,
It
just
is gonna be
secures a
there.
little bit more. They do manage to get the better tempo. Flawless was in the bottom lane for too long, so it does not reach this Herald in a position where he wants to fight it. And with that, despite that 3-0 lead, this is objective certainty for V3, which is, it's good. It's good. We're still holding the copium just near the face.
We like the guaranteed gold. We'll have to see them get that down before the 14-minute mark to get their plate money, stack their coffers a little bit higher. Speaking of the gold, though, it is about 1.5k to the advantage of Burning Core, which, when you have the Corki in the Senna, and you know at 25 minutes you're going to be in the advantage state, basically, no matter what, as long as you can keep it at least even, that gold lead definitely disparaging for V3.
It's a lot when that center is generating sort of gold efficiency without taking any gold. And then, the Gragas probably doesn't need so much money. He's still going to cast that barrel. What I'm looking for now is for Burning Core to start challenging the objectives with their wallets. It's getting to the stage where Flawless on this Trundle should really be up in the front lines, really causing some bother for V3. And until Yu-Gi-Oh is scaled, I notice we have a mandate there built on the Swain. Not something I would personally choose, but for you, if you're out there, I hope you're watching. This was your theory from a little while ago. And, we'll have to see if V3 can make the most of it here. It is an exciting build, and it can add to Dresscode's ability to one-shot someone. But it leaves the Swain less effective on his own, as Unica is out here in the river and might get picked off. The 3v3 starting up.
Yeah, who's pinching who? It's going to be Unica, who actually brings the Rakan in, and now it's Hadel basically biting the bullet for the team, but look at that nice little swing around, going to stay healthy. It's a bit of a waste of resources, but at least no health bars go down to zero. As Yu-Gi-Oh! Trying to get some chip down onto Flawless, and will do so. The Imperial Mandate, though, not going to be the biggest damage item when you're by yourself, and relies on the teammate, as here comes Unica, going to flash in, get that Demonic Ascension going. Yuhi once again taken down! This Senna just burst like a balloon on repeat, as that's going to be the catch-up on Flawless, but will he fall? No, the healing from the Subjugate going to be just enough to keep him ticking there.
We criticize the mandate, but Yu-Gi-Oh comes together with his teammates, comes together with Unica, and with that managed to absolutely explode you. He nearly take down Flawless, who's so far ahead of everyone else in terms of takedowns and items. Look at this Swango, Yu-Gi-Oh, having the game of maybe his career so far.
Yeah, we'll have to see him continue, as this was a bit of an ambitious one here to start this Drake up, as now it is going to be multiple members in a dangerous spot, especially once that root lands with theirs. Going to be the ultimate from Xayah. Dresscode does try and find the outplay button again, but not quite as successful as last time. This game so far, Temporal, has felt like V3 taking one step forward and 2 steps back, as the second Drake going to go over to Burning Core.
I said the words, didn't I? We got excited. We'll see here how V3 set up for this play. Unica not in too much danger. However, the call is made to back out. They know Corki will get there first, and the package completely wasted as V3 easily danced back out of the fight. Yu-Gi-Oh, he calls for Unica to come around, help him as fast as possible. Does so much damage to Flawless. Great work so far on the Swain. Finds the engage, and anyone with that mandate proc completely vulnerable to the Shadow Flare. They set up for the objective. They're in position. A little bit of overextension afterwards, maybe. Look, Flawless is out. We could just do the objective right now. Instead, stick around too long in mid lane. Burning Core get the resets, and they get the key objective that they were looking for. They are now back out and feeling the tempo for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see it reflected, this gold lead, in the items that have been picked up. It's going to be a Frozen Fist coming through for Loser. A first item, Umbral Glaive coming through for Yuhi. Standard tech on the Senna here to turn off the lights a little bit. And a nice cheap item for a carry who hasn't gotten as much gold as maybe should have happened in these fights when you keep dying first. But lots of items completed means lots of aggression from BC. They're finally online. They can put that pillar down, as Washidai does get a nice little ultimate back to try and dissuade anything from happening. The root onto Hadel, though. Dangerous stuff in the bot lane behind the tier 1. V3 are dancing around.
It's all the way back, but this is one jungler assigned to each side. The strong sides of each map in this composition. Gragas did not find the advantage, and thus V3 in their cross map in attacking this bottom lane will generate a bit more advantage. They will nearly tie up the gold lead off the back of this. Patel waiting to push the trigger again. We do see Yu-Gi-Oh! He has not got his teleport anymore. He swapped his summoner spells around. So there will be no assistance for Burning Court in this bottom lane. And now we're looking towards the mid-game dodge. We're looking forwards to where V3 struggle. This Swain has had one great team fight already. Another fantastic short-range engage could yield repeat results.
Indeed, and he has the stopwatch now in inventory, so we can take a quick little checkup on XP and gold. Dice, unsurprisingly, leading the way here on the Corki, trying to accelerate himself to that level 16 power spike as fast as possible, get those giant poke rockets. The poke Corki build really the cream of the crop, it seems, right now.
It seems from these graphs that Dresscode's in a good position. I'm not personally sure about the Gale Force. It can add 1v1 outplay potential. It can get you out of a tough spot around a Trundle Pillar, but does not add the damage of something like the Kraken Slayer. And when V3 are putting most of their eggs in the AD carry one-shot basket against this Senna with the Swain support in mid, I'm a bit worried that might come back to bite them as Washidai. He's holding on here. Has no idea Flawless is here. Just a little bit of intuition. They yield the tier 1, and across the map, should see V3 pick up this Rift Herald in response.
Yeah, that will be some consolation prize. Of course, Shelly's cousin Shirley, not as valuable as the first Herald. You don't have that guaranteed plate gold to take, but if you can try and leverage a tier 2, can definitely be worth its while. But you do see these multiple members of Burning Core congregating around mid lane. Don't think they're going to sniff out a contest here, as it will be the reset from Dice. Only the TP on Ray Farkey, but he's busy dealing with Yuji up there, so that will be crab meat for dinner for the side of E3. They pick up something here.
The cross map is completely fine. The tier 1 not worth a lot at this stage. I want to see sort of something exciting from the assignments next. I'm a bit worried about Yuji off on his own in the side lane with the mandate. As we mentioned, that works best with your teammates. We see Unica pathing towards the bottom side. Infernal Rift in 1 minute. That's going to be right real close to Yu-Gi-Oh's teleport. Not sure in the exact second there. It's real close to a minute. And with that, V3, it's clear they want to fight the objectives. They're actually going to reset this top side. They've done that with just enough time. That's fantastic. If they can get all 5 members down to this dragon with no response, without a teleport, they will get a summoner advantage no matter which way the play goes.
Yeah, they do have to get there in time to sweep out and clear away some of this vision. 1 pink behind the pit for Burning Core, going to give them good advance notice of the movements through the jungle here for V3. Temporal, I gotta ask, we keep hitting home on the idea that Burning Core just going to really outscale the later this game goes on. Yuhi, in particular, going to be picking up lots and lots of souls, extending that range, adding the damage. Can the Infernal Soul be a counterbalance to that if V3 is capable of collecting on it?
It can be. The problem with Burning Core's outscale is they're going to try and hold V3 at arm's length. They're going to use the Trundle Pillar to sort of dissuade the engage. They're going to use Gragas' cooldowns to dissuade bigger cooldowns from V3. Any flashes will be traded for that ultimate as they start at the dragon here. V3 not in position, not comfortable with the contest.
Yeah, it looked like they just never really had the confidence to move past that line of scrimmage. Dice getting those rockets out, just really dissuading any sort of approach. It's that artillery poke style that not a lot of teams in the LJL have always executed on, right? We see them draft it a fair amount, but sometimes they fail to meet the marks. At the very least, V3 will get a cross map while this goes down. They collect a tier 1 in the top lane, but definitely good for Burning Core to get this dragon stacking started.
It's a cross map. It's not the greatest cross map, but it's fine. You mentioned these long-range compositions don't normally go that well in the LJL. We like a bit of a fight. We like a bit of a fiesta.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. Melees smacking up on each other. Here's Flawless. Maybe, no, not going to get caught out by that claw. It was almost the overextension, as that's a shame. No, it does collect. It does collect. Thank goodness for V3.
Shirley, the hero with the last swing, takes out the mid-tier 1. V3 not too upset with that cross map now. They are about even over the last minute. And with that, we're still looking at this game dodge. You know, if we say a long-range team comps, we're like, DFM, because they can execute most things in this league. We're looking at Sangoku and Axis of last summer, just holding on to that Jinx pick as best they can with some long-range help. It's good to see Burning Core manage to pull this off so far. You know, normally there's a bit of critique for Flawless in the early game, a bit of a mismatch in the way the game will be played, but so far, despite Yuhi falling down 3 times, it's not looked too bad across the map.
Yeah, for sure. Yuhi, traditionally one of the weaker points on this Burning Core squad. They like to play through the top side, through Dice and Ray Farkey. Flawless as well, has great hands, can really get stuff set up despite some of the questionable things we see Burning Core commit to as a team. But if you're going to have an AD carry as a weak spot, thank God there's picks like Senna. Throw him on the Senna, let him collect those souls. Should be useful late game.
Being really useful now, the vision score, as you can see, highest in the game on 44. I want to highlight before the next fight, both teams sort of dancing around the Baron, sending both of their top laners down into this bottom lane. We have two key completions in the mid lane. Dice has finished that Mirror Mana, so now it will do even more damage on each rocket output paired with the Ludens. That's a lot of magic penetration, a lot of magic damage that makes it really difficult to approach this core key. But when you do approach dodge, when you do get in, you've got this Rylai's Crystal Septus. We're looking for Yu-Gi-Oh to control the fight. Unica will be forced to run away. That's not what you want, but the Swain is running forwards.
Yeah, Swain is looking to try and set something up. As you point out, has this Rylai's, can put out so much zone control, can create so much space for dress code to really pop off if the visions of the Empire do land, but not going to happen quite yet. And these rockets, you're really starting to see them. When they land true, it's really hard for V3 to find an even footing fight.
I really want to see Yu-Gi-Oh change his Unsealed Spellbook into a ghost and just go absolutely nuts. The teleport is coming through. V3 have the flank.
Yeah, they're really trying to force here, and it might just go correctly for them as Washi Dai alley-oops it back. That's going to be one picked up. Look at the Abyssal Dive trying to get out, but it does get canceled. That's going to be two picked up. You have to feel here as loser. The thick skin not going to keep you alive for too long. Now the question is for V3, are they going to try and parlay it into a Baron? The vision setup's really good around the pit for Burning Core.
They'll push this wave, they'll get the priority. Such great work, Washidai, whoever's calling comms to get that flank in around the Baron. They knew it would be the focal point, and they are continuing with the tempo. They'll just get into the town. No dive just yet, but V3, making their presence felt as flawless, has the flank this time.
Yeah, and that is the Dawning Shadow across the whole team. It actually does so much damage. Yu-Gi-Oh trying to drain tank through the Demonic Ascension. They do find the turnaround. Do V3. They pick up one. Can they keep it going? Ray Farkey down to half health, but Dice getting the damage out. Now here comes Yuhi to back up the fight, but I don't know if it's going to be quite enough. It will just be the pull back. They're not going to overcommit here. V3 potentially learning their lessons. Not going to throw the game away after one step forward.
Just a 1-for-1. Neither team going extra, burning every cooldown. We see there are still summoners present on each side. Burning Core, they're going to try and get a revenge tower. They're going to try and get into mid here. Dice just getting off at the side, picking up that extra objective. They will leave with a better round of vision on this Baron as well. Yu-Gi-Oh did so much work in that last team fight. I want to see it just go a little bit better. We need maybe a ghost, maybe anything to get this Swain all the way through the front line instead of just being an absolute menace. We got to see completion here from V3. If they're going to win this game, they have to get team fights over the line with convincing victories. 5 kills, 4 kills, something bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to tell you something, I'm on the edge of my seat. I know I shouldn't be. I know it can all go crumbling to dust at any moment.
This is it. If it's going to happen ever, Dodge, it's happening today.
Soul Point fight coming up. Burning Core going to be doing so much damage from such an effective range if they pick this one up, but it will be V3 forcing them back for now. They're recollecting under this shroud from Yuhi, but look at this Drake go down. V3 just going to pick that one right up. Flawless as well. Going to get flashed on by Yu-Gi-Oh! He's applying the Mandate. He's applying the Rylai's as Washidai jumps on in. He finds the ult. Are you kidding me? Dice with the deep flank, but is it too late? There goes the package to cut off the escape, but it doesn't really find too much damage as Unica trying to run him down, but now Dice picking it back up. It will be the 1-for-2 so far. Hadel falls, but Dice. That's going to be Dice going into the zone as he stays alive, and I think that could just be the turnaround as the Abyssal Dive lane's true. Yuhi going to clean it up. It was so close for V3, but in the end, it's a 3-for-4 for Burning Core.
Burning Core get away with absolute scenes there. Yu-Gi-Oh did not have the support. V3 looked so excited to take the fight, and they didn't come together over any objective. I criticized the Tom Kench pick, but it did get Yuhi just out of Yu-Gi-Oh's range. Look at this. Burning Core know they can't approach. Yu-Gi-Oh is so huge at this time. You can't walk towards the Swain. It's too risky. This flash forwards is absolutely massive. It's exactly where you need to go. Everyone comes together, but then they split right. They go to Washidai. Yu-Gi-Oh splits left. If we saw a little bit more coalescence here, that Mandate would have made the difference. Everyone would have been outputting so much extra damage. And instead, these isolated units of V3, you see there, Unica goes towards Dice, gets kited around, goes towards Yuhi, gets interfered with from the Tom Kentrum loser. And with the extra stopwatch on top, V3 just a little too split, a little too wide, and they've gone a little too far.
Yeah, it was almost greatness for
That
V3.
that really could have been a 5-0. That was the setup. That was the time. They found the fight. They've just got to come together, guys. You've got to listen to each other. Someone's got to call this. It can be done. Dodge. Burning Core are bleeding. It can be done.
Yeah, that they are. The Gnar did so much work in that last fight. Almost 4k damage, almost matching the Corki, but not quite. It's very exciting to see these more damage-oriented Gnars in the LJL. It's always been an LJL specialty, but more globally meta than has been in a while now. So
yeah,
definitely exciting stuff to see, and it's nowhere near over for V3. They got away.
If anything, Dresscode's going to get even stronger when he actually starts building real items, not the rapid-fire cannon. You know, it gives you one extra auto attack, which is, you know, great if you are going to one-shot Yuhi from long range and proc everything all at once, but it's not what we saw last fight. I want to see real damage items. That better be an Infinity Edge next stress code.
Yeah, that would be logical. He has a pickaxe and a crit blow. What else could it be? What else could it be?
If it's a collector, I'm going to cry.
No, it couldn't be. As we do see a pillar come out, that's going to force the Shirelia's Reverie from Hadel there, actually. Not a cooldown you want to be blowing defensively. Definitely want to use that one to set up a big fight, but V3 doing a pretty good job over the past minute and a half of maintaining some control past this river line, trying to control that upper quadrant of the jungle so that they can get a nice snap turn on Baron when the opportunity presents itself. Pushing the waves out as well. I mean, gold is essentially even. It's about 1,000 in Burning Core's favor, but at 26 minutes, that's not the biggest advantage. V3, I still believe.
I believe too, Dodge. You mentioned sort of taking over this territory. That's absolutely great. It means walking towards Swain is that much less of a distance for Burning Core to cover. We'll see here both teams fixated on this Baron. That's a major reset, 3 people from V3, and with that, they'll be able to refresh their vision, and we'll see a stopwatch now for Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, but they do sacrifice their position on the map. That is Burning Core getting in towards this Baron. They'll set up their own line. Fancy there, done for the Infernal Rift. 2 wards will cover all entrances. And now the question comes, can V3 maintain this position? Can they farm all 3 waves while applying pressure to Burning Core? We need to see another tight situation there, like last fight at the Baron, at the Dragon. We see Yu-Gi-Oh! He's got the Ghost, he's ready, he knows what he needs to do to disrupt Burning Core. It is in V3's hands now. This Corki is not as accelerated as they should be, despite that 3-1-3 scoreline. Guardian Angel is just defense. It is not, you know, the Titan, it is not the Hydra, the Ravenous Hydra. It is not extra damage. That's going to have to wait till the Void Staff comes through. That looks like a lot of damage coming off Hedel. That should have been nearly a one-shot. At this stage, V3 have a real opportunity. I'm setting up Dodge. I don't care if it's the Caster Curse.
Oh, that's going to hurt for Hadel. Going to get canceled there as...
Come on, V3.
Dice is level 16, man. It's really rough. These rockets going to do so much. That Blighting Jewel as well, going to punch through even the double MR items of Washidai on the Gnar. And look at this. It's all Burning Core set up around the Drake. V3 trying to threaten the Baron trade, trying to draw members, but Ray Farkey's hovering up there. I wonder if they'll start this. There's vision they have to clear first. Yeah. And it will definitely be this Infernal Soul point going over to Burning Core.
Oh, V3 look a bit stuck. They got pushed in mid, and with it, they've traded not really vision onto the Baron as their own jungle. Still warded up. Excellent choices there on the Infernal Rift. And with it, they trade, you know, Soul Point for not a lot. They're trying to get a deep flank now. They're trying to push forwards back into this quadrant to secure the Baron, but it needs to be more consistent. It needs to not be so sporadic.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Did find some poke onto Ray Farkey, but it doesn't mean anything when it's that Gragas who can just heal up, use that belly bounce to get on out of dodge, and it really does feel a little bit floundering, as you point out now, for V3. Just bouncing back and forth between the same couple positions on the map, waiting for some sort of mistake, some sort of angle.
Anything at this stage. They've got to keep this vision up, otherwise walking into Swain is not something that just will happen. It's a real risk. We don't have an AD carry that can side lane effectively into the Gragas either. Anything like that would make it would make V3's job so easy. It's an odd situation to be in because, you know, if you're that far ahead, you shouldn't have to be playing 3 lanes, but they still feel the need to.
Yeah. At the very least, Temporal, we don't have an AD carry who can side lane, but we have an AD carry who built Infinity Edge. So, there are some bright spots.
Please, like, Dress Code really has the ability to just shred through Dice and Yuhi in seconds in these next fights. That's the difference. That's not what we saw at the Dragon. I'm sort of pounding on it, but this is the best V3 I've looked all year. If they can do it, if they can come together now, this is the time. 0-28, this roster. Did not win a single game in spring. They did not win a single game in our first round robin. They're poised in an even game versus middle of the pack Burning Core, known to slip up every now and again.
That they are, as here comes the Shurelya's Reverie. That might just be the angle to flash into the backline, but here's the Dawning Shadow to try and recover. Look at Yu-Gi-Oh! He's already to half health. He's trying to drain tank through the Zonians, but now Unica also forced to go into the stopwatch, as that's going to be the double kill for Dice. I think it's just over. The Guardian Angel even going to keep the Corki alive. That is 4 men wiped off the Rift. Burning Core now right onto this Baron, and I think the dream is dead.
It's fading fast. Huge props to Yu-Gi-Oh! They took the position up front, but unfortunately did not come together. Dress Code was zoned too far away, too far in the back. And even with the rapid fire cannon, couldn't reach anything. I feel like the V3 setup we've seen today has been better than ever before Dodge, but here we're going to see how it fell apart. Unica finds the opening onto Flawless. This is great for V3. They don't have to commit, but Hedel decides to pull the entire team in. Notice, Dress Code bashed away there by the Gragas Barrel. Washidai late to the fight, doesn't get over the wall with the hop. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has expended every tool to buy this time. Unfortunately, it is too late for V3 to come together. Dress Code still only just dealing damage at this late stage. Only just coming in, and even though it looked so good for V3, Burning Core are the more cohesive unit, and they show it again.
Yeah, and it should be smooth sailing from here on out. They have the Baron buff. They will have the Infernal Soul in due course, because it's more or less impossible for V3 to approach them around objectives unless they're trying to find another last chance here. They do get the engage cleanly. Dice doesn't have the Guardian Angel this time, but does have the Valkyrie to get on out as Ray Farking just disrupts so easily. Washidai couldn't even proc the Mega until so late. Now goes into the stopwatch, but the team already falling around him. It was a desperation move, and we won't even have to wait for the Soul Temporal. I think they're going to try and end it right here.
This will be a huge economic win for Burning Core. V3's composition was designed to jump up front and engage directly, not be held at arm's length. They try and force that there. They try for a last stand. And unfortunately, a sublime explosive cask from Ray Farkey stops Dress Code from doing the job, punts them into the team. And it's just not looking good. It's looked so like V3, this was the best game I think we've ever seen from them. But unfortunately, Burning Core burned just a little too hot.
Yeah, that they do, as the Nexus does fall here. Burning Core trying to differentiate themselves from that scrum of 3 and 4 teams. They'll move up to an even 500 record. So